What if that tiny dime in your pocket is actually worth a fortune? Some rare US dimes with hidden minting errors have sold for thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before you spend your next 10 cents, take a closer look. In 1992, the United States was moving through a period of economic transition. The country was emerging from a recession, technology was beginning to reshape everyday life, and cash transactions still played a major role in daily commerce. Among the coins quietly circulating through millions of hands was the Roosevelt dime, a small, everyday coin that most people barely noticed. The 1992 Roosevelt dime carries the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, a tribute to his leadership and legacy. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch symbolize liberty, peace, and strength. It's a design that had remained largely unchanged for decades, making the coin feel timeless and ordinary, but as with many coins in numismatics, ordinary don't always mean worthless. The standard 1992 Roosevelt dime is composed of a copper core with a clad layer of nickel, giving it durability for circulation. Its official weight is 2.27 grams, and this detail is one of the most critical tools collectors use when identifying rare varieties, because weight can reveal what the eye cannot. If a 1992 dime does not match the expected 2.27 grams, it could indicate a striking error. Perhaps the coin was minted on the wrong planchet or experienced a flaw during production. Even a slight deviation can signal something rare and highly collectible. During the minting process, billions of coins were produced using high-speed presses. Planchets were fed into machines and struck with incredible force to imprint the design. While the system was efficient, it wasn't perfect. Small mistakes could, and did, slip through quality control, and those mistakes are where the real value begins. One of the most fascinating varieties associated with the 1992 dime involves transitional or proof-related anomalies. In some cases, coins intended for special proof sets, with sharper details and mirror-like finishes, can differ subtly from standard circulation strikes. When elements cross over or appear incorrectly, collectors take notice. Another sought-after error type is the double die, where parts of the design, especially lettering or numbers, appear duplicated due to a misalignment in the die creation process. While some examples are faint, stronger doubling can dramatically increase a coin's desirability. Off-center strikes are also highly collectible. This occurs when the planchet is not properly aligned during the strike, leaving part of the design missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center effect, while still showing the date, the more valuable the coin becomes. There are also rare instances of coins struck on incorrect planchets, which can change not only the weight but also the color and texture of the coin. These off-metal errors are among the most prized in the hobby due to their rarity. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. Most 1992 dimes in circulation show wear, scratches, dull surfaces, and softened details. But coins preserved in uncirculated condition, with full luster and sharp design features, are far more desirable. When such a coin also features a clear and verifiable error, its value can rise significantly. Collectors rely on precise tools to evaluate these coins. Digital scales confirm the 2.27 gram standard. Magnification reveals fine details that might otherwise go unnoticed. And professional grading services authenticate and assign a condition grade, adding credibility and market value. Auction records and private sales further establish what collectors are willing to pay. Coins with documented errors and strong eye appeal often attract intense bidding, especially when only a few examples are known to exist. What makes this even more fascinating is how easily these coins can be overlooked. They can still be found in circulation.in, loose change.in, forgotten drawers. Or in small collections that haven't been carefully examined. The difference between a common dime and a rare one can come down to a tiny detail. A slight shift in design. A subtle doubling. A fraction of a gram in weight. That's why careful observation matters. Check the date, 1992. Examine the design closely, look for unusual details or misalignments, and most importantly, weigh the coin. 2.27 grams, because even a small coin like a dime can carry a hidden story, an unexpected value. What appears to be an ordinary 1992 Roosevelt dime could actually be a rare and valuable piece of minting history, and in exceptional cases, that 1992 Roosevelt dime can reach a value of up to $119,200. In 1990, the United States was stepping into a new decade filled with change. The Cold War was nearing its end, technology was beginning to evolve rapidly, and everyday cash transactions still dominated daily life. Among the coins quietly circulating through millions of hands was the Roosevelt dime, a small, often overlooked piece of currency that most people never gave a second thought. The 1990 AP Roosevelt dime, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, carries the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse. On the reverse, the torch is flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. It's a design that had become so common that it blended into the background of everyday life, but sometimes, the most ordinary coins hold the most extraordinary secrets. This dime is composed of a copper core layered with nickel, a standard clad composition used for durability. Its official weight is 2.27 grams, and this measurement is one of the most important tools collectors rely on, because weight can reveal hidden anomalies. If a 1990 AP dime does not match the expected 2.27 grams, it could indicate that something unusual happened during the minting process. Perhaps it was struck on an incorrect planchet, or there was a flaw in production. Even a small deviation can signal a rare and valuable error. The minting process itself is fast and highly efficient. Planchets are fed into presses and struck with immense force to imprint the design. In 1990, millions upon millions of dimes were produced this way. But with such high-speed production, perfection isn't always guaranteed, and that's where rare coins are born. One of the most intriguing errors associated with Roosevelt dimes is the missing or weak mint mark, particularly significant for Philadelphia issues where the P mint mark should be present. If the mint mark appears faint, misplaced, or missing due to a die issue, it can create a highly collectible variety. Another important error type is the double die. This occurs during the creation of the die itself, where a slight misalignment causes elements of the design, such as lettering or numbers, to appear doubled. In strong examples, this doubling is clearly visible and highly desirable. Off-center strikes are also notable. This may happen when the planchet is not properly aligned during the strike, resulting in a shifted design. Coins with dramatic off-center errors, especially those that still show the full date, can command significant attention. There are also rare off-metal errors, where a dime is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. This can change the coin's weight, color, and size, making it immediately stand out to experienced collectors. Condition plays a crucial role in value. Most 1990 AP dimes have circulated for decades, showing wear, scratches, and dull surfaces. However, coins preserved in uncirculated condition, with full mint luster and sharp details, are far more valuable. When such a coin also exhibits a clear minting error, its value can increase dramatically. Collectors use precise tools to evaluate these coins. Digital scales confirm the 2.27 gram standard. Magnification helps identify subtle errors. Professional grading services authenticate the coin and assign it a grade, which significantly impacts its market value. Auction records and collector demand also shape the price. Coins with verified errors and excellent condition often attract competitive bidding, especially when only a few examples are known. What makes this even more fascinating is how easily these coins can be overlooked. They can still be found in everyday change. In old jars sitting on shelves or in collections that haven't been examined closely. The difference between a common dime and a rare one can be incredibly small. A slight variation in weight, a tiny detail in the design. A subtle minting flaw. That's why careful observation is essential. Check the date, 1990. Look for the P mint mark, examine every detail of the coin, and most importantly, weigh it, 2.27 grams. Because even a small coin like a dime can carry a hidden story, an unexpected value. What appears to be an ordinary 1990 AP Roosevelt dime could actually be a rare and valuable piece of minting history. And in exceptional cases, that 1990 AP Roosevelt dime can reach a value of up to $139,000. In 1977, the United States was navigating a decade marked by economic recovery, rising inflation, and shifting global dynamics. Everyday life was changing, but one thing remained constant: coins like the Roosevelt dime continued to circulate quietly through millions of transactions, unnoticed and often unappreciated. The 1977 Roosevelt dime carries the familiar image of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, honoring his legacy and leadership. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch represent liberty, peace, and strength, symbols that had defined the coin since its introduction in 1946. To most people, it was just another dime, worth 10 cents and nothing more, but beneath that ordinary appearance, there can be something far more valuable. By 1977, dimes were no longer made of silver. Instead, they were struck using a clad composition, layers of copper and nickel designed for durability and cost efficiency. The official weight of a 1977 Roosevelt dime is 2.27 grams, and this detail is one of the most important indicators collectors rely on, because weight can uncover hidden errors. If a coin doesn't match the expected 2.27 grams, it could be a sign that something unusual happened during the minting process. Perhaps it was struck on an incorrect planchet or experienced a production anomaly. Even a small difference can turn a common coin into a rare find. During minting, planchets were fed into high-speed presses and struck with tremendous force to create the coin's design. In 1977, millions of dimes were produced in this way. While the process was highly efficient, it wasn't flawless, and those flaws are what make certain coins valuable. One of the most well-known errors is the double die. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin has a slight misalignment during its creation, causing parts of the design, like the date or lettering, to appear doubled. Extreme examples of this error are highly sought after by collectors. Another fascinating error is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not properly aligned under the die, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing or shifted. The more dramatic the misalignment, while still showing the date, the more desirable the coin becomes. There are also off-metal errors, where a dime is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. This can affect the coin's weight, color, and size, making it stand out immediately to trained eyes. Clipped planchets, die cracks, and other minor minting anomalies can also add to a coin's uniqueness and value, especially when combined with excellent condition. Condition plays a crucial role in determining how much a coin is worth. Most 1977 dimes have spent decades in circulation, accumulating wear, scratches, and dull surfaces. However, coins that remain in uncirculated condition, retaining their original mint luster and sharp details, are far more valuable. When such coins also display a clear minting error, their value can increase dramatically. Collectors use precise tools to evaluate these details. Digital scales confirm the 2.27 gram standard. Magnifying tools reveal subtle design variations. Professional grading services authenticate coins and assign grades, which significantly influence their market value. Auction history and collector demand also play a major role. Coins with verified errors and strong visual appeal often attract competitive bidding, especially when only a few examples are known to exist. What makes this truly exciting is how easily these coins can be overlooked. They can still be found in circulation. And spare change. In old jars or forgotten collections. The difference between an ordinary dime and a rare one can be incredibly small. A slight variation in weight. A tiny shift in the design. A barely noticeable flaw. That's why attention to detail is everything. Check the date, 1977. Examine the design closely, look for anything unusual or out of place, and most importantly, weigh the coin, 2.27 grams. Because even a small coin can carry a big story, an unexpected value. What seems like a simple 1977 Roosevelt dime, could actually be a rare piece of minting history, and in exceptional cases, that 1977 Roosevelt dime can reach a value of up to $188,500.